Welcome back, guys. It is day 17 of One Zentangle A Day. It is wonderful to see your smiling faces again. Today we have 3 new patterns to learn, but before we do, I want to talk about 2 concepts that are mentioned on this page. One of them is intertwining different patterns together and using transition points. Now, with organic patterns in particular, there often are a lot of transition points where you have similar shapes, like this round loop at the top of this sedgeling pattern is very similar to the circles in this Vitruvius pattern. So you could very easily transition from one pattern to the next and have them sort of feel like they seamlessly go together. Also on this page, it talks about ZIAs, or Zentangle Inspired Art. Now, what a ZIA is when you use the Zentangle method to create something that is, well, more like a realistic picture. Now, this is still not a realistic looking picture, but it looks kind of like a landscape with a couple of hills and some mushroomy tree kind of thingies. And jumping ahead, you can see some other examples in days to come. There's a puppy dog. There's this kind of almost looks like a little city with buildings. So there's lots of different ways to create a ZIA. And really, I don't know why they differentiate that and call it a Zentangle Inspired Art instead of just calling it a Zentangle, but I just call it a Zentangle. But I guess it's different from the normal tiles that we normally think of as a Zentangle. Anyway, with all that being said, let's jump right into our patterns for today. Vitruvius starts with a bunch of circles that, notice how those circles sort of lock into each other. So you could have like a row of circles. No, these are big circles because we are going to be doing some stuff inside of them. And then the next step is to make squares inside of the circles. Now the squares can be turned at any different direction, but they're just filling from edge to edge to edge to edge of the circle. Sort of like that. And you can make them standing up straight, or you can make them sort of diagonally. It's really up to you how you want to do it. Turn them whichever way you want. And then the next step is to put a circle inside of the square inside of the circle. Oh my gosh. So I've zoomed in a little bit here. We can see those details a little bit better. It's a circle inside of a square inside of a circle. And then those circles are piled on top of each other. And then I bet you can't guess what the next step is. I bet you can't guess. We just did circles inside of the squares inside of the circles, and now we're going to do squares inside of the circles inside of the squares inside of the circles. Oh, I bet you couldn't see that coming. Now, depending on what size your original starting circles were, you could keep going in with more circles inside of squares, inside of circles, 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 inside of squares. But once you get to a stopping point with that, I'm actually switching to a larger pen because we're filling the gaps, the empty spaces around that first set of circles we made. We're going to fill those in with black ink. And that'll just sort of ground the pattern. Maybe we could add some shading after that too if we want. But this black background just sort of grounds the pattern and gives a little bit of definition to that first set of circles. And that's all there is to it for Vitruvius. Maybe I'll add a little bit of shading just in the top left of each of those first starting circles, just to kind of give it a little bit of oomph, a little bit of interest, a little bit of decorativeness. And then we're going to move on to Courant, which starts with a lot of loopy strings. Wee, woo, loopy, loop, loop, loop-a-de-doop, doop, loop. And then we basically turn each little section of that loop into a spiral. So I'll start with one of these sections, and you just kind of, go around the edges of that loop, but don't close it together. When you get to the edge, spiral your way in like that. And then pick another section and do the same thing. Go around the edges. Oh, don't quite close it off. Keep spiraling inward. Notice that these spirals are not circular. They are following whatever shape the original shape was. So this is kind of a hook shape, and so that spiral hooks down into it. And here, this shape is more loopy, almost circular. It's more teardrop shaped though, so the spiral is kind of teardroppy shaped too. Now that one was way more fun than I expected it to be. When we go back and add some shading to this Courant pattern, there's really no wrong way to do it. What we've done here is just some rounding around the edges, or you could try to emphasize one particular loopy spiral if you wanted. I'm just going to go in and do some rounding around the edges. And if you don't remember what rounding is, you can go back and watch my video for day 11 of this series. That was where we learned about auras and rounding. Now for the last pattern of the day, sedgeling, we're going to start with some stem-like shapes. This kind of reminds me of poke root, except it looks like we're making much longer stems this time. And notice how the tops of those stems are kind of rounded off, so I'll kind of round that off. And step 2 for this pattern is to basically make a spiral that loops around that top edge. So I'll start right at the top, loop around with a spiral, loop around. Notice that this spiral overlaps behind the stem, bump and jump. And I think that's enough of that one. And then the next one is going to have to overlap behind this as well as behind the stem. So I'll start at the end of the stem, loop my way around. And I don't think there's any rhyme or reason on how big or small to make these. You decide, and just kind of keep going until it's how big or small you want it to be. I like that right there. And then you just keep making more of the same, kind of like that. And then for shading, what I'm going to do is where the stem overlaps the top section, the sort of spherical thing on top, I'm going to put a little shadow there on each one of these. And then also wherever one of the spirals overlaps another spiral, I will put a shadow on the one that's underneath. Now that we have finished our 3 patterns, we want to make a ZIA, Zentangle Inspired Art. So I'm going to do something very similar to this, where it's going to end up kind of looking like a landscape-ish kind of thing, with the sedgeling pattern there being some trees type of stuff. Now, while I am making the border and string, I did want to remind you of what we learned on day 10. If you haven't seen that yet, you can go back and watch that. On day 10, we did use a landscape as a sort of point of reference for a Zentangle tile. And what we talked about there was making patterns that are close to us, so like this bottom hill is going to be in the foreground. Patterns that are close to us need to be darker patterns, and then they get lighter and more airy as they go towards the distance. So I'm going to make just a zigzaggy string, and also the idea of letting some of these organic patterns look like something from nature. And all of that is going to work together to create a Zentangle inspired landscape. So there, that is my Zentangle Inspired Landscape thing. One thing that I very briefly mentioned earlier that I didn't talk enough about was transition points. Notice how I used an aura around this first Vitruvius pattern and then led that into tipple, which is a very similarly structured pattern to Vitruvius. Tipple is all circles, just like Vitruvius is a big pile of circles. And so that sort of transitioned very nicely into the tipple pattern, because circles fitting into circles is the whole idea of the tipple pattern. Then also here, where the Courant pattern transitions into sedgeling, I used several of these points where my spirals were looping towards the edge anyway, and just sort of kept that same line going out. Now, some of them I didn't do that, but some of them I did. So that just kind of connects the two patterns together. It makes them feel like they're more harmonious. They're connecting together. They're working with each other. And then here at the top, I decided to flip the fescue pattern upside down and have those little things hanging down from the top instead of growing up from underneath. I thought that would help kind of direct your eyes back down into the picture a little bit better. Anyway, that is finished for day 17. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have liked this series so far, hit the thumbs up button down below. Don't forget to subscribe, share it with your friends, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 18.